my wife 33, and I'm 37, attended a Veterans Day event hosted at a local hotel. We were excited. It had been a while since we'd gone out. Joining us were her younger sister, 32, and my mother, who is 59. The four of us were in good spirits, treating the evening as a small celebration. My wife and I rarely drink, maybe the occasional glass of wine on holidays, so I didn't think much of it when she ordered her first cocktail. But it didn't stop there. A few drinks in, she ran into someone unexpected. John, a man in his early 30s whom she used to work with years ago. I had heard his name in passing before, nothing noteworthy. But that night something shifted. He came to our table repeatedly, greeting her with big smiles and lots of excitement. She reciprocated, clearly thrilled to see him. At one point, she went to the restroom with her sister, but when they returned, instead of coming back to our table, she joined John at his table nearby. It struck me as odd, but I trusted her. We've always had open communication, mutual respect, and I've never had reason to question her loyalty. Still, I started noticing how heavily she was drinking. Far more than usual. She laughed louder, touched his arm when talking, and seemed oblivious to how it all looked. By midnight, the event was winding down. Most guests were leaving, but my wife and John were still talking like the night was just beginning. I walked over, smiled, and gently said, "Sweetheart, our Uber's here. We should head out." She snapped. Her entire demeanor changed. She was visibly annoyed that I had interrupted her conversation, and for the first time in our relationship, she used crude language toward me. It wasn't just the words, it was the venom behind them. I blinked in disbelief and chuckled nervously, stunned. That only made her angrier. In the Uber, I sat in the front while the three women, my wife, her sister, and my mother, sat in the back. As the car pulled away, she suddenly insisted we go to Norm's, a 24-hour diner we had only been to once weeks ago. Seemed random. She got increasingly belligerent, snapping at the driver about the route, her tone sharp and rude, completely unlike her usual polite and thoughtful self. I apologized to the driver and asked him to continue taking us home. That's when her sister, sitting quietly behind me, texted me. She wants to go to Norm's because John is going there. He's texting her. I was floored. Trying to remain calm, I suggested we could go to Norm's the next morning for brunch instead. But that set her off like a fuse had been lit. She launched into a tirade, mocking me, attacking my appearance, belittling me as a man. Then came the gut punch. She screamed that she regretted not being with John, insulted our sex life, and worst of all, blamed me for our inability to have children. That final accusation, made in front of her sister, my mother, and the Uber driver, shattered something inside me. We've always known the fertility issue was on her end. It was something we had accepted together, supported each other through. And now, in a drunken rage, she was rewriting our truth, weaponizing it to wound me. My mother, already tearful, tried to calm her down. So did her sister. But my wife was beyond reason, spewing more insults, some too cruel to repeat. When we got home, my mother and sister hurried inside, shaken. I stayed behind, trying to coax my wife out of the Uber, but she refused to move, crossing her arms and staring ahead like a defiant child. I was torn between staying and comforting my mother or dealing with my wife. Ultimately, I told the driver to take her wherever she wanted to go. About 30 minutes later, the Uber ride ended, at her parents' house. It's been over 2 days since then. No text, no calls, no apology, just silence. Tonight, her father came by to collect her car and pick up her work clothes. I told him everything that happened. He looked stunned and said she had only mentioned staying with them temporarily, making it sound like I was the one at fault. She hasn't told them what she really said or did. Now I'm sitting here, shaking with a mix of anger, confusion, and heartache. I don't know what to do. We've been together for years. We were best friends before we ever dated. We've built a life on trust, laughter, late-night conversations, and deep love. Our intimacy was fulfilling, or so I believed. Her infertility was never a source of resentment. And the things she said that night, those hateful words, Felt like they came from someone I don't recognize. I doubt she meant them, at least not all of them. I'm sure alcohol played a role. But her silence, it's eating me alive. We've never had a fight that even remotely compared to this. We've never spent a night apart before, and now we've had two. And still no word. I know she's probably humiliated. She said those things in front of my mother, her sister, people she loves and respects. But I can't help wondering if something deeper is broken now. Should I reach out? Or wait for her to make the first move? Because right now, it feels like I'm mourning something I'm not even sure is gone yet.